Now, a reporter from Democracy Now! Who documented security personnel with guard dogs working for the Dakota Access Pipeline is now facing criminal trespassing charges in Morton County, North Dakota. Authorities have issued an arrest warrant for Amy Goodman of New York. Amy Goodman, reporter for Democracy Now! She now has an arrest warrant on her for a Class B misdemeanor, according to court documents. Now, Goodman, a reporter for, as I said, Democracy Now!, can be seen on footage from September 3rd documenting the clash between protesters and private security personnel with guard dogs and pepper spray at the Dakota Access construction site. Now, I've already reported on some of the details, but I want to show you some of that footage again from Amy Goodman's broadcast from September 3rd from North Dakota. Let's take a look.
People have gone through the fence, men, women, and children. The bulldozers are still going, and they're yelling at the men in hard hats. One man in hard hat threw one of the protesters down, and they're marching over the dirt mounds. Some of the security have dogs. The 6 bulldozers are pulling back right now. People are marching forward in their tracks. There are men, women, and children. More security trucks are pulling up. There are some protesters on horseback. Security has some kind of gas. People are being pepper sprayed.
All right, so there's a portion of her report. If you haven't seen it already, I'm sure it's up on Democracy Now! And in fact, I can get you a link in the description if you want to check out that video for yourself. But it's been all over at this point. Now, Goodman, who heard about this warrant, and was like, the hell, man? She said, "This is unacceptable violation of freedom of the press. I was doing my job by covering pipeline guards unleashing dogs and pepper spray on Native American protesters." Now, that's the thing, right? Apparently, when it comes to protests against an oil company, freedom of the press no longer exists in the corporate states of America, which is what essentially we become. Now, she's not the only one that has received a warrant. There are a total of 38 arrests that have been made in connection with the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. Morton County authorities also issued arrest warrants last week for Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein and her running mate Ajamu Baraka for criminal trespass and criminal mischief. I actually love that. That is mischief, sir, ma'am. You have just created criminal mischief. Well, what did they do? Well, I showed you the video last week where Stein essentially painted, "I approve this message," on the front of a bulldozer. And Ajamu Baraka also painted the last word in the message, "We need decolonization." So, wow, those are some crimes there. Yes, they're technically crimes. Yes, it's vandalism, whatever, right? It's also a protest. And it also didn't actually hurt anybody. Oh, you think about the poor bulldozer. Yeah, okay, right. Now, authorities, as I said, filed charges because of this. And so, look, man, they've been going after people, a lot of people. Now, the North Dakota Private Investigation and Security Board is also, thankfully, investigating the use of dogs by security and whether the personnel were properly licensed or registered to work in the state. So these private thugs that were hired, well, now they're getting investigated. Now, they actually should be investigating not only whether they were licensed, but why they were there in the first place, right? And why they were able to use pepper spray and dogs, okay? Especially since this is a protest. Does the First Amendment no longer apply? The fact that they were met with these private security thugs in the first place, Huge problem, right? Now, for Amy Goodman, doing actual journalism and going out there, well, she was one of the only ones who had the guts to come out and cover these protests. Most of the mainstream media ignored it. And I guess we can see why. They're very litigation happy there in North Dakota, right, when it comes to these protests. Now, here's the other question, right? Now, in my report last week, I also noted that Lawrence O'Donnell was there from MSNBC. Now, Lawrence O'Donnell, not one of the biggest names, I grant you, but Lawrence O'Donnell, decently big enough on MSNBC. Did they threaten to arrest him too? And that's my question. Did they threaten to arrest him too? Probably not. Even though he was there, even though he was reporting, he was also doing journalism. But he's rich, he's powerful, and they're not going to go after them, but they're going to go after Amy Goodman. See, this is what they're doing to journalists now. This is the state of journalism. It is pathetic what has become of the freedom of the press, right? Now, you look at things that are related. For example, ag laws. When it comes to people filming the insides of slaughterhouses, right? That are actually trying to find out, hey, are you actually doing things safely? Like you're supposed to? Are you treating the animals humanely? Are you following the laws, essentially? That's what these people go and they try to find. And they document what they find. And they release it. And then the government looks at that and goes, oh, God, no, we can't have that. We're going to pass a law that makes doing journalism illegal. Can't have that. We can't have anybody messing with the meat industry. It's the same thing here. We can't have anybody messing with the oil industry. As long as we protect the oil industry and protect their profits, then we're doing our job. And we don't cover the protests, right? Now, it seems pretty clear that everything that's going on here, right, with the oil companies sending out thugs, North Dakota police issuing arrest warrants for protesters and journalists. We know what's going on. And it's not good. You see, the police, the establishment, are defending the interests of corporations over the safety of the environment and the safety of the people. For issuing the warrant of an arrest, the warrant of a journalist for doing her job, North Dakota officials have shown that they do not want nor care about the truth getting out to the public, who, if they knew, would overwhelmingly stand with the First Nations to protect not only their culture, their artifacts, but also to protect the drinking water that services millions.